as of December 31, 2024. So collaboration for recovery. Mr. Seidu stated that his office was working with the Ministry of Finance and the stakeholder to ensure that recovered funds were promptly paid into the Auditor General's recoveries account. This will not only provide timely funds for government, but also ensure financial discipline in state institutions. There's also the sub-captions of appreciation of Parliament, breakdown of recoveries, context, and irregularities. All of them are here. Okay, let me capture a bit of the irregularities. It says that for recoveries based on indebtedness, loans and advances irregularities, the Auditor General recovered 9.94 billion cedis for the period, representing 78.22% of the recoveries. 1.24 billion cedis, that is 9.881%, was based on cash irregularities, and then 1.49 billion Ghana cedis, representing 11.78%, was for tax irregularities, and the rest goes on and on and on. B, is that, you know, part of this maybe research agenda that you're trying to do to make sure you get something in the coffers?
Yes, I think that largely the point has to be made that we are not where we have been for the past 8 years. I think what we should be commending is not just the acts or actions which are happening currently under the NDC government, but the change even in the narrative and how these things are happening. And if you would recall, prior to 2017, normally when the Auditor General would report on financial irregularities and all that, the figures will be somewhere around 700 million, 500 million, which at the time we contend was even high.
Yeah.
Then in 2017, 2018, we started hearing irregularities in the regions of billions, 12.7 billion, 8 billion, and it became something which you will not even be able to appreciate how such a high irregularity occurs. There are laws on how the Auditor General can surcharge. Surcharge simply means that asking the people who were found to have misappropriated the monies to return the monies. And then sometimes you can go to court to set aside the Auditor General surcharges and all that. But ultimately, I mean, this is a good news. Although if you look at the figure, we are being told that about 12.7 billion were recovered from over 38.9 billion. The total recovery is low, if you ask me, because if you're taking 12.7 billion out of 38.9 billion, that's a bit low. But at least it is a step in the right direction. And it is my expectation that we should not even allow the leakages. What the NDC government is doing is trying to block the leakages. Because sometimes you can't fetch spilled milk, and so we can't always get our monies back. So we must first of all work on blocking the leakages. And I'm hoping this morning we probably will get the opportunity to discuss the 120-day contract and the NDC's accountability to the people, so that I can help demonstrate some of the processes and some of the things that we have done to block the leakages. If you ask me, it's a good news, but it's my expectation that we can do better. And to our CEOs, to our ministers and the new appointees, yes, you are new in government, but it is our expectation that we will block these leakages. And I'm happy about how Honorable Ato Forson is going about some of these things. If you look at the amendment to the Public Financial Management Act 2016, it's introduced some...
Sorry, I don't understand.
...some further measures to make sure that we curb some of these things. So it's a very good news this morning, except that I believe we can do more to recover more.
I'm not sure if there is any specialty, because this one is what you call special recoveries something. Lara, too, if you can check the paper where you are. I think the next paragraph.
This one?
Yes, I think it's called special recovery something. It's marked.
Oh, special audit report.
Special audit report.
As of December 31st, 2024, submitted to Parliament. The Auditor General. Yes, it was submitted to Parliament in December 2024.
But
so is it? I don't know.
No. So what happens is that after the Auditor General audits public accounts,
yes,
some of the people or some of the institutions, depending on who is responsible, they are surcharged to return the money. So, for instance, let me give you a typical example. If you look at the COVID-19 audit, you realize that some 16 million cedis was paid to a facility to be used in Adaklu as a holding center that was never utilized. So the Auditor General, as part of its recommendation, can say that that money should be recovered because 60 million was paid and the facility was never utilized. And so let's recover the money. You remember that about 80 million US dollars or cedis, I've forgotten, was paid for the purchase of vaccines, which we never received at all. And so the Auditor General can surcharge that whoever made those payments should be made to recover it. So if they made, and we had a classic example in the Sputnik V case where the minister said he was not thinking at the time, and then they said no, recover the money you have paid to these UAE people. So those monies were recovered, so. But the Adaklu one has not been recovered, and the one on the vaccines have also not been recovered. So in those instances, then some of them will come and pay because they don't want to face prosecution or they don't want to have anything to do with law enforcement and all that. So those are some of the recoveries. And I'm saying that we should even go beyond the recoveries. Sometimes in almost every year they will do the recovery, but it's a threshold.
Yeah.
Because why do we allow people to use the money in the manner they use? Why would anybody pay 60 million cedis for a facility that they never intended to use? Or pay so much in excess of 80 million for a vaccine that we had in excess? Sometimes you can impute motive. And so we are better off taking that money and using it for other purposes. And this is one of the means that they use. And I'm just saying that I'm hoping we do better as an NDC government. I'm hoping that even in the 2025 and beyond reports, we'll be seeing a lot more recoveries. But for me, it's not even about the recoveries. The conversation must be that let's block the leakages.
Yeah.
Because why do we allow that? If you look at time value of money, why do we even allow that to happen before we go recovering? So if the one who misused the money dies, does it mean that the state will not recover the money at all? Or the one who misuses the money says that, okay, the money has been misused, so there is nothing I can do. The only thing you can do is to prosecute me. What do we gain from the person going to prison when 80 million has already been wasted? And so we should look, it should be more forward looking, where we are looking to sealing the leakages. Then the conversation will be that in the Auditor General's report, there is a reduction in financial irregularity, substantial reduction, rather than we recording 12 point something billion financial irregularity. Because if you look at under the NPP, for about the 8 years they were there, you're having more than 58 billion, if I recall, financial irregularity for the time they were there. That's a lot of money, because how much did we even go to the IMF to ask for? So if you have an excess of 58 billion, then it means that there is something which is not right. Why do we allow 58 billion to be wasted to corruption? Then we say, oh, we recovered 12.7. I think it's not encouraging. So the conversation must rather be forward-looking. We must rather look at how we can stop the leakages rather than, I mean, these are minor wins, but I think that it's
and organizations, the figure shot up to 5.4 billion Ghana cedis in 2019 to 7.3 billion Ghana cedis in 2020 alone, representing 135% jump. So the jumps are high. So when you even recover, you know that the recovery is nothing. The recoveries are nothing home to write about, because we keep increasing. The leakages, keeps widening and swallowing a lot of the monies. Lara, you want to have a word on that?
Good morning once again. Good morning to our viewers. When it comes to protecting the public purse and curbing corruption and all these other things, it's a collective responsibility on every taxpayer, every well-meaning individual. If we want to make the conversation about the MPP NDC, you miss the plot. At the end of the day, what are we trying to protect? We are trying to protect the public purse. We are trying to protect and make better use of the taxes you and I pay and other responsible Ghanaians do. By practice, I mean definitely every year, every financial year, there's an audit that the Auditor General's Department does. Every institution in this country has an auditor or an audit department, depending on the size of the institution. One of the key things that has been an issue over the years has been corruption in every discussion that